Okay, we are live for another live stream with me, the Bitcoin capitalist. I didn't want to do a live stream today, but I turned on TikTok and every single video was a doomsday Bitcoin video. And they were a little different than normal. It wasn't like Bitcoin is going down. The videos were like Bitcoin is going to zero. Now, the premise of why they think Bitcoin is going to zero is because a new revelation that Jeffrey Epstein was involved with the original financing of Bitcoin through leaked emails. Whether this is true or not, I do not know. But it's just like when everyone's parroting the same thing, it just reminds me of the mainstream media. They get talking points, and across CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, all these mainstream channels, they say the same exact thing. And all of these social media accounts are parroting Bitcoin's going to zero because Jeffrey Epstein was involved with the beginning. A couple days ago, we just had the leaked emails where supposedly our current president, Trump, gave a BJ to the former President Clinton, and that Putin has these tapes as blackmail. Those were also in emails to like Epstein's brother or something. Are these true? I don't think so. This Epstein right now is like being used as the boogeyman. We are blaming this dead guy for like every problem, everything right now. I mean, unless the guy didn't sleep, I don't know how he was involved with absolutely every government official, celebrity, Bitcoin. Like, this guy must have just touched every aspect of America then. So I don't think it's true. I think it's FUD. I think this is organized. I think this is big money, big banks trying to shake retail investors out of their Bitcoin, and they have a good narrative, and then they're going to buy cheap. Being in Bitcoin for a while, I have seen this time and time again. Now I'm a seasoned veteran. I don't even blink when I see this stuff now. So I remember back in the day, there was one that almost got me because I was so new. Like right when I was starting off in Bitcoin, they had a news release that Bitcoin had been hacked and that there was like a double spend on the network. But it really wasn't. It was something weird, and they were able to go with it and trick a lot of people that had been hacked, and there was double spend happening. And it wasn't the case. It sold off, bought back. There's going to be scary stuff. You got to trust Bitcoin. And I have my normie friends that like don't own any Bitcoin, or they own like $50. And they will text me and they're like, Travis, how much further down are we going? What's the price of Bitcoin going? Like they're freaking out over their $50 investment in Bitcoin. I was like, if they only knew how much like I had invested. I don't even look at the price of Bitcoin anymore. I don't trade it. I don't care what the price is. I know where it's going long term. If you are looking at the price of Bitcoin daily, you're doing something wrong. So buy it, put it in cold storage, set it and forget it with dollar cost averaging. That is the way to do it, and ignore the news. Don't be one of those people when Bitcoin's $1 million saying, oh, I heard Epstein was involved with Bitcoin and sold all your Bitcoin. Don't be one of those people. I don't know how stupid people are. I don't know if people buy that story, but I mean, people see the price going down. People can't handle losses right now. They're so used to like everything going up with this inflation. People can't handle any pain. So here, let's watch some of these videos. I'm not crazy. Like, this is what's hitting the internet right now. Bitcoin Epstein.
Let's dig a little deeper in the Jeffrey Epstein Bitcoin connection, because I think you're going to find this information shocking. MIT didn't just accept $850,000 of donations between 2002 and 2017. They kept him as a quiet financial back channel. And based on these newly surfaced emails, he wasn't donating randomly. He was tied specifically to the Digital Currency Initiative. Forrest, why does that matter? Because the DCI was not just some research wing. It was the group that stepped right in. Bitcoin Core developers lost their funding after the Bitcoin Foundation collapsed. That collapse was not minor, and it left Bitcoin development nearly unfunded and directionless. And then out of nowhere, MIT steps in, and then suddenly, boom. Developers get salaries, infrastructure continues, and of course, Bitcoin survives. So Epstein's 10 quiet donations absolutely changed the narrative for all Bitcoin maxis. Bitcoin was never supposed to have a sponsor. It was supposed to have no patrons, no gatekeepers, and no silent benefactors. It was sold as organic, grassroots, and power to the people. But when you have a collapsed foundation, developers desperate for funding, and a super controversial, hyper-connected financier like Epstein stepping in behind an academic institution, you have to ask the uncomfortable questions. Was Bitcoin survival a natural evolution, or was it protected? Bitcoin went from anti-system to a tool of the system to a protected asset and media darling of the system. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop pretending Bitcoin is this clean and decentralized darling. Let's dig a little deeper in the Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, that guy had a good video. There are shady beginnings of Bitcoin. The SHA-256 code was from the NSA, but who's to say that code wasn't stolen or someone working on it and then they used it in their personal life? And I don't think that the government's involved. But I understand why people would think so. One of my biggest apprehensions with Bitcoin, and why it could be tied to the government if it was our media is so tightly controlled. And out of nowhere, Bitcoin is being shown on CNBC, the money channel. And you're watching the gold ticker, oil ticker, and all of a sudden Bitcoin's on there with the price of Bitcoin. Who made that decision to put Bitcoin on the news, on mainstream media as a commodity, which gave it validation, correct? Which people started recognizing it nationally, globally, as an asset class because it was being shown on there. Now, was that just natural evolution, or this is just insanely popular asset and people want to know the price and they start putting it on there, or were there nefarious people behind it? That's one thing for me that I've always had a question about. How did it get in the media? Also, if the government wanted to stop Bitcoin, they missed the opportunity. They could have smothered this thing in its beginning. And obviously there were people linked to intelligence agencies watching this thing while it was younger. Maybe they didn't get the orders to take it out, but they were monitoring this cryptocurrency since nearly its inception. In my opinion, I think Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto. I've met Adam Back. I would want him to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Very humble guy. Goes to all the events. Will give you unlimited time. Just the ethos of Bitcoin. So that's who I think it is, and that's who I want it to be. But I understand the whole CIA angle. NSA created it. We don't know who owns 2 million Bitcoin. If this was a government experiment and the government, CIA did own it, and you wanted to end it, what they'll do is they'll let Bitcoin become this huge phenomenon, and then they dump millions of coins collapse the price, along with banning it in a negative PR campaign. Even with the dump, it doesn't go to zero. People might still buy it and bring it all the way back up, especially if we're experiencing hyperinflation. People are going to have no option. And another thing, when the real crash happens, physical gold and silver will not be available. They will sell out in days. And people will go to the paper contracts, and you can't get settled out in gold. If you look at the COMEX contracts, there's a little fine print. Can deliver. If they can't deliver, they can pay you in USD. And that's what's going to happen. And it can also happen with Bitcoin. It's going to be hard to buy Bitcoin. No one's going to be selling. And you're going to have these insane price swings in Bitcoin to go up. So let's see if there's, I mean, if you go on here, it's just video after video of this stuff.
And so if Bitcoin is associated to Epstein, and there's data attached to Bitcoin, and that is why Bitcoin takes so long to move, what if the files are inside and what is cryptography, right?
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know where this guy's going. But a lot of people are saying because you can upload images and information to the network. And so people are saying that people are uploading explicit images and information to the network to try to crash it, because then the government's like, oh, well, we can't have this illegal content, and then take it down. That could be a good angle for the government to play, to like take down Bitcoin and be like, people are using this to put very bad images on here. We can't allow this. I mean, that could be one angle. I didn't even think about that angle.
If you knew who owned Bitcoin or who started Bitcoin, you had Bitcoin, you couldn't sleep at night. I know. 100%. And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
One day.
And a microsecond. Whoop. If you knew who...
I mean, this guy, he's been saying Bitcoin's going to zero for a long time. He's missed quite an epic run. I mean, say Epstein did fund it. Do you think all these Bitcoin hodlers are going to sell their Bitcoin? No one's going to care. He's dead. This guy, Epstein, had like $1 billion, hundreds of millions of dollars. He's investing in all kinds of stuff. This might have just been like one of 1,000 projects he touched.
Humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me.
Guys, now that the ugly truth has gone viral about the early MIT Epstein Bitcoin connection, let's zoom out, because crypto is crashing over an extended period of time, about as bad as I've ever seen.
Bro, you know why the whole crypto market is crashing now? It's gonna blow your mind. Just listen, follow me.
It's so crazy how 2 years ago you could say something.
Who is this guy? This guy actually had a good video. Forrest Unfiltered, 28,000 followers. Oh God, he's a freaking XRP guy.
So we have some breaking news. After all these years of attacking Ripple, the SEC just dropped their appeal, man. No settlement, no fine.
I'm sorry, but all these people in XRP are the lowest information people. All the dumbest people like me in public, oh, what do you think about XRP? Like, they're all like, they're all losers. I'm sorry, it's a cult. like move on. Like I don't even have like a good opinion on it. Like I stopped following it a long time ago. I'm like, this isn't going to be worth anything. Supposedly the banks are going to use it. It's going to be worth 100. Like people that have put money on it have just sat on it. I watched the Luke Ballmar video. He's like, you know how much money he missed out holding it for XRP for years on instead of investing in other stuff. It's just a freaking nothing burger. Now, let's look at MicroStrategies. This stock, Bitcoin's under attack right now. MicroStrategies is just, everything's negative on it. They're trying to crash the stock. I think MicroStrategies could be the new GameStop. I hope it is. I own a bunch. Wait. Shoot. It's down 43% in 1 month. Yikes. Damn. Falling off a cliff. Woo. I think MicroStrategies is going to see, whoop, it's going to just go through the roof once this consolidation ends. Now, I was watching some other interesting videos where people are like naked short selling MicroStrategies, where like people own MicroStrategies at like JP Morgan. They're asking to transfer their shares and they're like, we don't have them. I think it could be a total thing. Just like I know everyone and their mother is shorting. I know Rebel Capitalist, that guy, he made a video where he likes Bitcoin, but he's shorting MicroStrategies. There's a lot of people shorting. A lot of people borrowing shares. This is a recipe for this thing to be a banger. I think we're going to have like maybe 2 weeks downtime. They're going to throw everything at and everything they can against Bitcoin and MicroStrategies. And I think we rip, and I think the stock's going to go crazy. And there's so many people shorting this thing that this thing could be next GameStop, I think. Oh, I think this guy's on X maybe. See, I saw this guy had pretty good videos on. No, it's hard to find stuff on. Damn, everyone's making content these days. I can't find it, but the problem, a lot of people don't know how to buy Bitcoin and keep it in cold storage, so they're buying MicroStrategies as a leverage play. The problem is Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies is still within the system they're trying to beat. So it's kind of stupid. I mean, the government they make the rules. They can use their banks and investment houses to just screw with MicroStrategies, which is what I think they're going to do. But you know what I think is crazy? El Salvador adopts Bitcoin like a year and a half, 2 years ago. What other country since has adopted Bitcoin? Bitcoin's was plus $100,000 with the U.S. trying to make a strategic reserve. And we don't have one other country making a move on Bitcoin. Not some like random African republic. Not like in Ethiopia, a Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea. Like no one wants to make that move. And it's crazy because if these countries adopted, buy a little, they don't have to put everything in a strategic reserve. The PR and publicity they would get would 10x the amount of tourism and crypto bros going. Would just, it's free money. And then say the IMF is bribing people to stop. Then take an IMF bribe loan at like 0% interest to like get rid of Bitcoin. Like, it's a win-win. Like, is the global government that corrupt where like we can't get one other country to make Bitcoin legal tender? And what's crazy is everyone's freaking riding Nayib Bukele. Last time I checked, Bitcoin isn't legal tender in El Salvador anymore. He rescinded it so we could get a big IMF loan. You can still use it there, but companies aren't forced to use it anymore. It's not legal tender. So even El Salvador's come back on it through pressure. But I understand Nayib Bukele is the president of El Salvador. He's not the president of Bitcoin. And he's got to do what's best for his country. And if the IMF's going to get, hey, we're going to give you $500 million loan at 1% just to change this formality, he's going to do it. It's sad. And I know a lot of the hardcore Bitcoiners left El Salvador. They're like, this guy's a sellout, and a lot of people have left. I understand. And people like Max Keiser, who's the Bitcoin advisor to the president, you know, he's got to stay silent. He still sees the benefit in El Salvador making the first move, and he doesn't go against Bukele. And a lot of the big name people were silent on that, and it didn't get a lot of media attention either. Like, I didn't even know until I was in El Salvador that was the thing. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but my mind's boggled on like, no other country is adopting Bitcoin. Like, just the tourism, advertising, PR feels like a no-brainer. Like some non-Western country like a Burkina Faso, they've got nothing to lose, everything to gain by going into Bitcoin. Start telling people your commodities are priced in Bitcoin, not dollars, and you want to buy this gold, you got to give us Bitcoin. You want to buy this ore, give us Bitcoin, and build up a huge strategic reserve. You might get invaded, you might get assassinated, but you know, no one lives forever. Someone's gonna have balls somewhere and do this stuff. So, any other news that's worthwhile? Like, here's another thing. So, construction sites in Charlotte go dark as illegals disappear. As this economy gets worse, the increase in anti-immigration will get worse, right? As jobs get harder to find, good paying jobs, people are going to do what they naturally do. They're going to blame other people, and they're going to blame the immigrants. So you are going to see, when the market crashes and you see a wave of middle class and lower income job losses, you are going to see the support for deportation and immigration enforcement go 10x. I'm just telling you that. That is going to be that's a fact. Because right now the job losses are like upper level Amazon people making six figures. They have savings, that they're not competing with immigration that much. But once you start seeing the real estate crack and all the construction, all the blue collar middle class jobs go, and those people are looking for jobs, and they're all paycheck to paycheck. Immigration is going to be a huge issue with people rallying for deportation, all that stuff. And then you'll see clashes in the streets of the anti-immigration and the pro-immigration. And for me, like, I was kind of looking into this H-1B1 visa, which is the high skilled labor. Like, these jobs should be paying like Americans a couple $100,000, and then they're importing people from India to do it for a quarter of the price. And for them, like, it's indentured. They're like, they've made it, and they're going to do whatever that company says. But it's like, I feel like we Americans, we should be hiring our own for these great jobs. And also, like, you go to college here, you go to the system, like, you should have first dibs on these jobs. And it's like, if we can't find anyone to fulfill these, then maybe they'll have to increase the pay, which will make people want to do it here, which will make people want to go into that education field. Think about it. If we need these engineers and we don't have enough, okay, these companies like Google are going to have to pay way more money. And you're going to college and you're about to be a freshman, you're like, wow, they're paying $400,000 for this engineering job starting. Maybe I should try to study this. Maybe we should move our education system into something that supplies these students after they've, studied these careers. So, I don't know. The U.S. needs some hard restructuring. The problem is, like, there's going to be pains in our economy and government doing it. And I think Trump is very well aware of this. And I think you'll see a lot of the most radical changes kind of on the back half of his tenure. But Trump's walking on eggshells. Like, our economy is a bubble. Like, anywhere he moves, the economy collapses. He's got the hardest job in the world right now. Our whole system is fragile. You want your system to be anti-fragile, decentralized. The United States is the exact opposite of that. Everything is centralized. Everything is a bubble. I saw a video on TikTok. Guys, like, I see a bubble forming. Wow, you must have gone to college for that. We've had bubbles. Everything's a bubble. Show me something that's not a bubble. The real estate bubble is biblical. The stock market bubble is insane. It's gone on for so long. We're in the eye of the storm. It's just the new normal. The only thing there's probably not a bubble in is Bitcoin and gold and silver. So if you're still making money in this bubble fiat economy, move your money into hard assets. Once you get these hard assets, you're going to want a ticket out of town, because when the bubble pops, you're going to have anarchy. You're going to have civil unrest. You're going to have political warfare. And instead of, all this talk, people are going to be fighting. And the banks aren't going to work. Their insurance companies will go bankrupt. People that have saved and done the right thing their whole life are going to get screwed. And they're not going to be happy. And it's going to be very sad, because this bubble can't go on too much longer. So it's going to blow up on the boomers. And it's going to be very shocking for the boomers, because everything has worked in the system for the boomers. They rode the whole real estate wave, business jobs, college was cheap. They rode that whole wave. So they have a lot of trust in the system. When it crashed in 2009, they all got bailed out. If they held on to their stocks in real estate, they made their money back and some. But this time it's not going to work. And very few of them own Bitcoin. I got my dad into Bitcoin. I got all my uncles, everyone into Bitcoin. But very few boomers own Bitcoin or physical gold and silver. And they're going to get annihilated. And this is going to be as they're going to retire. And you're old. You can't make this money back. You're not going to go put in crazy hours like I'm doing to try to build stuff. You're just going to be toast. And Social Security, they'll have to increase it, but with the inflation, what your purchasing power is going to go down and down and down. So the young, they're flexible. They can go sleep on a couch, work 1 million hours. They'll survive this. It's going to be bad for the older people. And it's very sad. Like, I was at the gas station the other day, and older woman living out of her car. And I live in a nice area, and it's here. It's everywhere. I mean, you go to LA, it's an absolute war zone in downtown LA. It's like 20, 30 blocks of Skid Row now. 158,000 homeless people in California. only going to get worse. Like we're looking at 158,000. Like times are good right now. Wait till the markets crash. And I've said this a couple times, like if the stock market crashes, people will lose their jobs, the economy will slow down. The real crash is going to be when real estate goes, because that's everyone's largest investment. Everyone's flipping each other's home. There's so many businesses tied to real estate. Everything's connected to real estate. My previous career was in the packaging industry. You think that would be just completely insulated from real estate. Everything's tied to real estate. When we live in a bubble area in Orange County, it was like a economic nuclear bomb had gone off. I remember going and doing like sales call and all the buildings were empty. So yeah, what I was going with this is like after you get the right assets, you got to get a ticket out of town. Like look for residency, Paraguay, Panama, Armenia. If you can do citizenship by descent, get a second passport, because they're going to tax everyone. They're going to tax everyone on trying to take their money out. And we're going to go socialist. Mamdani is just the beginning. When the system crashes, people are going to want something else, and they're going to vote for socialism. And you'll probably have China, Russia backing these parties and giving it media attention. And then America will implode from within. So that's it. I got to get in and out. I just wanted to talk. I just saw those videos, and it's so obvious that Bitcoin's under attack, and just hold the line.